Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. So you guys probably know Silven is seeing some usage in Dream Realm. However, he's also seeing quite meta usage in AFK stages, especially for players who do not have key, for example, Alna or even Saida on their account. I'm going to show you guys something really interesting. So my guildmate Nyx is at AFK stage 977. Basically, this is one of the harder stages out there. But even all the way up here, closing in on finishing up Apex, you're going to see a lot of these record formations want you to have Saida and Alna both, which is like obviously asking for a lot. There are some formations which, you know, can get the job done with only Saida, which is still like can be asking for a lot from players who have not invested into her. And that is basically it. But then you find a formation like this that has managed to clear this stage with basically this is the minimum sort of investment, like because they're all regular faction heroes in a one copy Mihira. So I found this just really impressive, and you're gonna see this in multiple AFK stage records. There's gonna be at least one stage record usually using Silven as a non-Saida option or even non-Saida and Alna option. And that's just really interesting. And if he continues to have this value going forward in AFK stages, for players who do like pushing AFK stages but maybe on a budget, it can be really nice to pick up Silven here. So I'm going to show you guys a replay of this. Like my guildmate doesn't even have Silven built up yet, so we're not going to be able to follow this. However, just to show you guys how this is working. So we're going to delay the Iron ultimate and combo it with the Silven ultimate. Like, get all of them grouped up in the center over here. That always has value because that gives Blazeburn artifact more procs. So Silven is actually getting, right here, Hugin is putting the ultimate onto Silven, and that's going to give Silven more haste. And you know that one of the key skills of Silven is the knockdown skill, his gravity collapse skill that he has. And so like actually just Mihira and Silven, they provide enough crowd control to keep the enemies locked down, that you don't need a hero like Theodore in here, for example, but the damage from Silven is going to be way higher. So let's continue watching over here. Okay, so the enemies are grouped up. Silven just is going to keep cycling his ultimate, dealing the damage, providing some of that crowd control. Like you guys see these knockdowns here. And Hugin again going to give his ultimate to Silven just to ramp up his damage as much as possible and lower the cooldowns of his skills as much as possible. And then you're going to see it. It's looking really stable here. When you look at the crowd control, like these enemies repeatedly are being knocked down. And that knockdown is purely coming from Silven, right? Because he's the only form of knockdown that they have on the team right now. And he's really chaining it well with Mihira. Valar full magic circle is active. Hugin keeps giving his ultimate to Silven. And from this point on, is basically just, do you have enough damage? Which, even at plus 10 exclusive equipment of Silven, not crazy investment in terms of Paragons, and plus 10 Hugin and stuff, it was enough. And this, guys, honestly, this is a tough stage. This is not one of the easiest stage of Apex. I remember when we were clearing it for the first time. This was one of the stages that people got stuck at for a while. Yeah. But yeah, so overall, basically, this is just showing you that Silven is a very interesting hero for AFK stages. Now, if you have Saida and Alna built on your account, probably you're not going to need to use Silven, because then you're just going to be running the most pay-to-win comps. But you guys saw here that there was no record formation clearing the stage without a Saida, and almost all of them had Saida and Alna both. But Silven had only one copy of Mihira out of Celestial Hypogeans, and that's pretty crazy. Okay guys, so I've tried to find some random person here just to show you some more examples showing you that Silven has, I have seen it for players especially pushing up stages right now. Yeah, okay, right away, first recommended formation is going to be Silven. Silven Lightbearer Clump. And first recommended formations means that they overall have the most usage and the most success rate. And all of these other teams, most of them are using Saida, right? And then if you look at the regular stages, we have one for Silven. Okay, Brian. Interesting. But again, Saida Alna, Alna Baelran, Saida Alna. I'm predicting there's going to be a Silven here, because there normally always is, right at the end. Is there? Okay, for this stage, apparently, I guess because of the mad creature who can be knocked down by Silven, Silven is not seeing usage for this stage. So, obviously, OP, like, pay to win is going to be pay to win. And, like, if you want to master all AFK stages, you're going to need to have some Celestial Hypogeans at some point. or like, you know, synergy in for those specific stages. But like for this one, honestly, look at this. This Silven's only at plus 10 exclusive equipment Supreme and 1 copy of Mihira. We're going to take a look at this record formation. So let's see what happens here. So Brian immediately takes a Lily May interruption. I think that's the main reason he's here. Silven gets off his ultimate quick into the match. That's like kind of the advantage. Mihira even goes down. And you see that on all, so the 2 record formations we've seen so far, Hugin keeps giving his buff. His ultimate is casted onto the Silven, rather than, you know, Hugin ultimating himself. And that's going to give more haste. And look at this gravity collapse. Look at the crowd control that you're seeing here. Like, the enemies are locked down pretty effectively. Only Entendre is basically being able to escape that. And there is no other form of knockdown on this team. The only other crowd control you have is Siren, who can sometimes teleport enemies. And his ultimate, of course, you guys know, groups up enemies. But like a lot of the crowd control, almost all of it is coming from Silven here. And it's pretty effective. And so for AFK stages where the enemies are controllable, like if they're not mad creatures and dead tide warriors and things like that, and statues, then Silven's going to have pretty good value, and more value than I was expecting. Honestly, when we first saw his skill kit, I knew the crowd control of Gravity Collapse has potential, but I just didn't think, is it really going to be able to outshine a hero like Theodore, who also has great crowd control? And I think the reason why Silven is able to outshine Theodore is because Silven comes in with a lot more damage than a hero like Theodore does. Theodore is basically purely a tank and the crowd control. But if you can get that done with a damage dealer and also the same crowd control, it's going to help you in those stages where there's going to be a damage check. Like right here, because I did actually do some testing for a player who doesn't have Saida, doesn't have Alna, doesn't have Silven. And I maybe want to show you some of his records stages as well. But basically, I was like, okay, well, can we just replace Silven for Theodore in the record formations? It works in terms of crowd control, but it doesn't work in terms of damage. Your damage is really lacking when you don't have Silven on the squad in those Silven records. So you're going to see here, even Entendre is going to be killed. And Siren does well in this comp as well because he can execute the enemies, and that buys more time for you. Like right now, next Siren ultimate would execute the Entendre. So that's really just interesting how like kind of a bit of a light bearer faction is coming into AFK stages now thanks to Silven. And overall, Silven, he's definitely having that usage. Okay guys, I managed to find a player who doesn't have Saida, who doesn't have Ulna. He's in my district, and he's pushed up to like total of around 600 Apex stage. So I'm going to show you guys, because I'm predicting there should be some... There you go. So as you guys see it here, you're going to find at least one record using the Silven comp. And otherwise, like this player, he could not... Well, here you could do maybe a Bailman, but also it's kind of like an invested Alicent and stuff. But a lot of these are Saida Ulna, or Saida. And then there are a few Silven ones at the end. Really showing you that, honestly, as a budget AFK stage pusher who can't afford Saida, number 1, then there's quite a bit of value in using a Silven comp. And that's just really cool. And if we look at the regular AFK stages, it's probably going to be a similar story. Now, here, these ambushers, I think they're not the most controllable enemies. Let's see what happens here. Well, I mean, overall, there's some pretty free-to-play friendly teams. This is a Gala team right away. So, like, this one probably doesn't need the Silven. And you're going to see, yeah, when you can't really control the enemies effectively, or there's some major survival issues, Silven is not going to work. But when you can control the enemies, and when there aren't going to be, like, major imminent survival threats, that is when these Silven comps really take off. So, like, if you see this one here, whoa, Silven even took the enemy Lily May interruption, which is kind of crazy to me. It's crazy that, like, I guess someone needed to take it, right? Like, and all the shielding on the Silven, he was able to take it and not die. And now the enemies are grouped by Siren, and now it's just about Silven using Gravity Collapse and crowd controlling them. So there's a lot of synergy between Siren and Silven, and we already know Hugin is a beast for AFK stages. So like Hugin, Silven, Siren, this is the Lightbearer core that does well in AFK stages, and Valara, of course, as well, to boost your, like, when her full circle is active, it boosts your damage the most. And then you just throw in another hero. Hero is Brutus. In the previous stages, it was like Mihira, and whichever one basically you need to fit the description of the stage. And it's just really interesting. And like this stage specifically, it has Lily May, But Lily May is never able to get off another ultimate because it's like permanently crowd controlled with the Silven, showing you that, yes, he definitely brings enough crowd control to the table. And these bear enemies are actually really tanky. And sometimes they can even heal. Yeah, like he's healing right now. And so you also need a damage. You need the damage. It's kind of like a damage check as well. But there is plenty of damage with the Silven combined with the Siren and his execution. And this is only at Supreme Plus level as well. So this is basically what I wanted to talk about in this video, which is that Silven is seeing a surprising amount of AFK stage usage, especially for budget AFK stage pushers who don't have Saida, who don't have Ulna. And like, you know, if you're a big fan of pushing AFK stages, you basically need Silven at this point, if you don't have Saida and Ulna. Now, if you do have Saida, or if you have Saida and Ulna both, the question is, do you need Silven? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to wait and see for the upcoming phase 2 to see if I use him at all when we're like pushing at the high deficit AFK stages, because like for me it was basically every stage was Saida Ulna, and probably that is what's going to happen in the coming season as well, or it's a coming phase. However, there's that chance for Silven. He is a solid AFK stage hero, and really, when you think about it, Celeste definitely was as well, but Silven almost equally so for AFK stage pushing, but with a different role, with that crowd control and damage role, and like really is a great option for players who don't have Saida and don't have Ulna. It's basically a necessity at that point. So that's interesting. Like, I know people are talking about Silven in Dream Realm. I'm not too convinced about Silven long-term in Dream Realm right now, because he is having some usage, kind of a minor score gap compared to other teams. But like, the pre-endless of Dream Realm is about to come to an end. Just like around 10-15 days into phase 2, we're going to have endless Dream Realm, and Silven is going to be forgotten about until the beginning of next season. And by the beginning of next season, there could be different bosses, there could be new pre-endless Dream Realm heroes which come, which always basically happens. That's what happened to Nazarick, and now Nazarick is like nowhere to be found, because new pre-endless Dream Realm heroes came between the time of Nazarick's launch and now. And so that is basically, that is the thing. And so yeah, for Dream Realm specifically, I'm not like, you know, recommending. Like, if you're just a Dream Realm player, you don't care about AFK stages, I think just wishlist Silven. But if you are a hard AFK stage pusher, and especially if you don't have Saida, then I would really say Silven is a worthy investment for your AFK stage pushing, because otherwise it's not going to be possible to push a lot of these Apex stages. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. That is going to be it for this video. If you have any other thoughts about Silven, feel free to let me know in the comment section. And as always, much appreciated and interesting to hear. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Farlight store. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus Dragon Crystals on your purchase. My affiliate link is in the description of this video in a pinned comment. And you can actually bookmark this link in your browser, and whenever you're planning to make a purchase, just return to the bookmark link and make your purchase. It will support me and be greatly appreciated. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.